In today's fight news, we start off with the UFC 303 main event between Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler. Again, in possible doubt, as rumors are speculating that the UFC is sending out feelers once again to find either replacement fighters or a brand new fight altogether. This is what Ariel Helwani had to say about the situation. In short, there seems to be pessimism all over again regarding the status of the 303 main event. Actually, even more pessimism, it seems, than on Monday last week after the presser was canceled at the last minute. The man in which the UFC 303 card is built around, Conor McGregor, took to his social media account to call out the UFC 302 pay-per-view for low buys, stating, "500K pay-per-view buys, 302 done, a nothing burger." Speaking of the UFC 303 card, welterweight top 10 contender Ian Machado Gary will be in the co-main event against Michael Venom Page. He recently took to social media to say that he wants the fight switched from 3 rounds to 5 rounds, and he plans on calling out Hunter Campbell to make it happen. After recently making an appearance on the MMA Hour, former light heavyweight title challenger Dominic Reyes says he still believes that he beat John Jones. The now heavyweight champion Jones responded to these comments on his X account, stating, "Dominic, when you look back at our fight, I don't want you to ever question me or those judges. Look at your own heart, your own endurance. You didn't do enough. The sooner you accept that, the better athlete you'll become." The beef between rivals light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira and former champ Jamal Hill continues as Pereira responded to recent claims made by Hill, in which he called out the champion for the way he celebrated after knocking him out at UFC 300. Pereira responded by saying, "To be honest, I kind of don't get why he's doing this so late to be almost 2 months. People usually do that right away, but maybe he just woke up from the knockout." After which, Hill responded on his Instagram stating, "Funny, only one of us has been knocked out unconscious, needing oxygen and multiple people's help to wake with your toes curled. Don't worry, I'll remind you of that feeling very soon." Former BMF champion Dustin Gaethje says that he knows after his recent knockout loss to now BMF champion Max Holloway that his shot at a title is diminished. He says, "However, it's not impossible. I knocked out Dustin Poirier. Now he's fighting for a belt. You never know what this sport's gonna bring." Gaethje also tells Full Send MMA that he wants to get that loss back from BMF champion Max Holloway. Speaking of the BMF title, UFC president Dana White was recently on an episode of the Flagrant podcast in which he hinted that the upcoming Sphere event may have a BMF title on the line. While on an episode of the Overdogs podcast, former bantamweight champion Dominic Cruz says that he would like to rematch Henry Cejudo on the Mexican Independence Day event at the Sphere. Speaking of rematches, former welterweight title challenger Gilbert Burns tells the Show Me the Money podcast that he would like to do a rematch with former champion Kamaru Usman. He had this to say, "I don't think Kamaru would do it, but I would love to do that fight. I think it's a back in the top 5 fight for me, a rematch. For sure I'll fight him." On his YouTube channel, former bantamweight champion Aljamain Sterling reflected on his loss to now champion Sean O'Malley at UFC 292. Sterling said that if he had known that the pay-per-view buys weren't going to be as high as he had expected, he would have declined the matchup against O'Malley and given himself a proper rest between fights. Speaking of O'Malley, while on the Morning Combat podcast, Bellator bantamweight champion Patchy Mix said the following, "I don't think he lasts 10 minutes with me." Now onto some boxing news, as promoter Eddie Hearn has revealed that he's planning for the first boxing event to take place at the new Co-op Live Arena in Manchester. The date is set for August 24th potentially, and he says on the card could feature Jack Catterall versus Arnold Barboza. According to boxing journalist Dan Rafael, the upcoming Riyadh season card featuring Anthony Joshua, possibly against Daniel Dubois, that takes place on September 21st at Wembley Stadium, could also feature fighters Jai Opataya, Hamza Shiraz, Joshua Boutsi versus William Hutchinson, as well as Fabio Wardley versus Fraser Clark too. Hearn also says that Naoya Inoue will not be on the show, but he says if things go as planned, it's going to be the best card the country has ever seen. Just announced, IBF welterweight champion Jaron Boots Ennis will be defending his title against David Avanesian on July 13th in Philadelphia. According to sources close to Jake Paul's camp, the fighter will be taking on Mike Perry on July 20th. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this content, like and subscribe.